Welcome to chapter 5. If you want to kill depression, starve it. I want to start with a truth bomb. You have feelings, but you are not your feelings. It's similar to depression. Depression is a mix of emotions, but you are not depression. And that is good news. Separating yourself from your feelings. That's a good news. Now that we are able to separate ourselves from the emotions, we know what needs to be evicted out of our lives. But how do you starve depression? Do exactly the opposite. When depression tells you to stay in the bed, say, "No, I'm waking up." When it whispers lies in your head and says, "You are done," say, "No, I'm getting started again." Do exactly the opposite. It may feel strange and it may feel even fake in the beginning, but that's only because you're retraining your mind and your emotions to flow in the right direction. Depression will try to pull you in one direction, but you would need that strength to move in the opposite. And this will need training. You're no longer letting your feelings drive. You are taking the wheel. Remember, you are the boss. And guess what? Depressive thoughts use your own voice. They talk to you as if it is you talking to yourself. You'd hear voices and you'd hear thoughts like, "I'm not beautiful and hence I'm not getting married. I don't have that job because I'm not witty or I'm not intelligent enough." Catch yourself. These are not your thoughts. These are depressive thoughts. These are not your declarations. It is important that you catch these thoughts and talk back. It is important you stand in front of the mirror and speak the truth to yourself. Look into the mirror and say, "I may not have gotten married yet, but I will wait for that person to come my way. I am waiting for the right person to come my way." Look into the mirror and say, "I may not have that job yet, but I am going to educate myself and prepare myself to be able to find myself and get that job." It is important that you fight the lies and don't just allow them to sink in. Fight the lies with your words and make this a practice to stand in front of the mirror and speak these truth declarations over yourself. Now let's talk about what you're feeding your senses with. What is it that you're reading, watching, listening to? Think about it. If you're going to read or watch all these heartbreaks and sad movies and read novels about heartbreak stories, what is it going to do? Have you ever thought of watering a weed you want to destroy? That's exactly what music is going to do. Music has a lot of power in how it is going to create an environment around you. Now, I understand it feels relatable when you're feeling low and you'd want to listen to sad music. But remember and understand, we are fighting depression. We are fighting this enemy, and we got to train ourselves to try and do exactly the opposite of what depression is asking you to do. So while your emotions feel relatable to these songs, and while depression would ask you to listen to more negative songs and sad songs, it is only going to create an atmosphere around you that is going to sink you, drown you in depression. Feed your soul with life and not with sorrow. Get up, make new habits, form a new lifestyle. Have a pattern, have a calendar that you can follow. Make new habits. At the same time, now let me talk about the environment as we're talking about, what you're reading and how you're feeding your senses. Let me also talk a little bit more about how people who enter you into your life, who walk into your life, also carry an environment that you've got to be careful about. People carry environment. Yes, that is true. We all have those aunties who have that gift of really creating or increasing anxiety in people, sitting there with you in your pity party and increasing that pity party, right? People and aunties who can carry negative environment along with them. It is important as we are fighting this enemy that we be vigilant, we be wise, we be aware of the environment that people carry into our lives. You got to keep these negative people away from your life. You got to be aware of these aunties who can come in and cause these anxiety to increase. They might just sit with you, sigh with you, cry along with you, but they aren't really helping you, are they? They're making you sit there in your sorrow, aren't really helping you, aren't really giving you a hand and lifting you out of that pit of darkness. They would sit with you and cry and leave you there to cry even as they leave out from there. So you got to be careful. What are the people that are coming into your life? What are the people? Who are the people who carry this negative environment, negative words, depressive words, words that would just keep you there in your pain and not really give you a way out? You got to be wise not to share your heart out with anyone and everyone there. No, you don't have to do that. You got to be wise in finding out people, in identifying people who can give you strength to move out from that darkness. So ask yourself, are these aunties around you making you sit in that pity party? And when I say aunties, I'm talking about, it could be a friend, okay? Not just aunties, but it could be a friend. But you need to ask yourself, is this friend helping me get out of my pity, or is he or she feeding into the negativity, feeding into my sorrow and making me sit and keep on being in that dark room? You got to ask yourself that question. So replace those negative friends with some friends who can give you light, who can be your mentors, who can bring happiness and joy and show you hope in that darkness. You got to identify those people. It's important that you do not isolate yourself. It's important that you do not disconnect yourself, but you find the right people. It is not rude to disconnect yourself from those negative friends. It's just being wise. Yeah. Remember, we don't want to water a weed. We want to destroy, right? So you got to be careful of the environment that you are creating around you. Connect yourself with people who are joyful, who are grateful, who are full of gratitude, thankfulness, and full of life. And just like how you add these friends to your environment, so important that you stay vigilant about, keeping a happy and positive people around you, reminding you it's important that you keep revisiting these courses as well, as it'll keep you on track and it'll keep on reminding you of things that you need to do to uproot that weed, to kick that filthy rat out of your house. On that note, I'll leave you to ponder and excited to see as you put into practice what we've learned up until now, and I'll meet you in the next chapter.